Can a masseuse learn anything from this podcast? Or rather, should we say, can a massage therapist? I'm not sure what the proper term is, masseuse, massage therapist. I'm going to work on the assumption that they both mean the same thing. But if they don't, dear gentle listener, and you happen to know what the proper term is, please reach out and let me know. So, the reason why I'm asking this question of whether a masseuse can learn anything from this podcast is because there is a listener, should I say a long-term listener? Well, almost a long-term listener because she's on and off, who happens to be a massage therapist, and I do get some feedback from her every once in a while. So, it got me thinking, even though this podcast is called Sales for the Nigerian Wedding Industry, is it possible that people from other disciplines can learn things from the podcast? And the answer is yes. Because before I launched the podcast, back when I used to put up videos on Facebook talking about business in general, it was some of the feedback that I got from the viewers over there on Facebook that even though the videos I was making were tailored towards certain kinds of businesses, people, employees, and people across a wide variety of endeavors found some of the tips and tricks really useful. So, even though this podcast is a sales podcast and is primarily targeted at wedding industry professionals, that doesn't mean that other people like engineering professionals or massage therapists, it doesn't mean that they can't learn anything from the podcast. Because some of the principles that we explore over here are near universal. The application of the principles, on the other hand, will depend according to the concrete realities that you are dealing with. So, masseuse will apply the principles differently from an electrical technician, from an engineer, from a wedding photographer, but the principles are near universal. So, yes, a massage therapist can learn something from this podcast. An example of that is the need for qualification and discovery, which we talk about time and time again on the podcast. For those of you who are first-time listeners, if you just, after you're done with this recording, if you head back to the menu and skip back, look at the titles, you will find titles related to qualification and discovery, and you will get to know some more about what those terms mean. But I'm going to give a brief summary. So what qualification means is this, or rather the idea behind qualification is to make sure that whenever you're speaking to a potential customer, you want to be sure that you are speaking to the right person, someone who has the need. The person needs what it is that you're selling, your product or your service. There's a sense of urgency and a time frame through which the person needs your product or your service, and that there's a reasonable certainty that the person is going to be able to pay for your product or your service. Because if you're a masseuse and you're speaking to someone who is not interested in massage therapy, who does not need massage therapy, but who is interested in it and who needs it but cannot afford the prices that you're asking, then you're wasting time. You are speaking to the wrong person. Because in this particular instance, even though there's a need, we don't have a meeting of the minds when it comes to the budget, and so you're just wasting your time. Because there's nothing that you're going to do, there's no talk track, and there's no gospel that you're going to preach that is going to be able to convert someone who thinks 5,000 naira is what they have for a massage. You're not going to speak any grammar that is going to turn a 5,000 naira person into a 50,000 naira person. The person either has the money or not, or places the value to the service or not. So we have to be sure that we're speaking to the right person, and that is what qualification is about. Now, discovery, on the other hand, the idea behind discovery is this. Once you're sure that you're speaking to a properly qualified person, the person has a need, the person wants your product or your service, and it looks like the person might be able to afford the prices that you're asking. The idea behind discovery is asking more questions about their needs, because when you do that, you're going to get all the information that you need to be able to close the sale, and you are also going to be able to make it clear to the person that you're talking to that the need that they have actually is very serious. So now let's run through a scenario here for the massage therapists who might be listening to this podcast, or any other medical type professional who might be listening. So you're speaking to someone, it's clear that the person is qualified, and then we go into discovery, asking more questions about their needs. Now, the reason why we do this is because, like I said, it's going to lead to a much more effective sale, and it's going to give you the information that you need to close the sale, and it's also going to give you the info that you need to make sure that you do an effective job. So, discovery questions, if you're in massage therapy, are going to be around what the person's occupation is, what the person's hobbies are, and the person's health status, because that will determine the massage package. If massage therapists have packages, it will determine the kind of package that would be most suitable for the person. So, for example, let's assume that this massage therapist happens to be talking to a photographer. So questions would be around occupation. You're a photographer. You carry a 12 kg camera and lighting stand and everything when you're shooting weddings. So it's possible. I'm just guessing because I don't know anything about massage therapy. So I'm just assuming that for photographers, for instance, the kind of massage therapy that they need might be neck and head related and maybe lower back related. So with all the information that you have, you're going to be able to take home the point that they actually do need this, because if they do not get head, neck, and lower back massage therapy, they could be dealing with complications regarding mobility and maybe arthritis in old age. Now, forgive me if what I'm saying is incorrect. I don't know anything about massage therapy, so I'm just making things up just to show you how you can use that information to close the sale. So in this case, you're going to be able to build some sense of urgency because the messaging is going to be, dear wedding photographer, if you do not get this massage therapy now, you're going to have head and neck injuries in the future and lower back injuries. You're going to have arthritis. You're not going to be able to play with your kids because your neck is going to be stiff. It's going to ruin your love life because your head is going to be stiff. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. So you see now how asking discovery questions are going to be very useful in the sales process. So you're going to have something that you can build a sense of urgency around about why you actually do need this, because you are building it around the pain point. And then also it will make sure that you're going to be effective, because now you're going to give the person the actual massage that they need. Because if you have a wedding photographer who comes for a massage session with you, and in this scenario, assuming that head, neck, and lower back is the kind of massage that they need, but because you didn't ask the right questions, you didn't know the person was a wedding photographer, you didn't realize the strains, the physical strains that he's going through because of occupational health and safety issues, and let's say you end up giving him massage for, let's say, lower limbs, let's say foot massage and thigh and upper leg. So if you do that, he might feel good and then he goes away, but then tomorrow his neck is aching, his lower back is aching, and he's like, this massage thing was useless, I just wasted my money. So the thing is, in that case, it wouldn't be that the massage was useless and ineffective, but the problem actually was that the massage therapist didn't ask the right questions, and because of that didn't give the right massage package that the client needed. So this is an example about how a massage therapist can learn something about this podcast. So for my friend Daisy, who listens to the podcast, and other massage therapists who might be listening, keep on listening, because all these things we talk about, for instance here, principles around qualification and need discovery, are going to be very useful to how you go about building your business. So please keep listening to the podcast, even if you don't do anything related to the weddings and events industry space. So who is this massage therapist or this masseuse that listens to the podcast, in case you guys are curious? Her name is Daisy, and her Instagram details are at Abuja_massage therapist. Again, it's Abuja, ABUJA_massage therapist. There's no space between the massage and the therapist. So check her out on her Instagram handle, follow, show her some love. If you want to book a session, be sure to let her know that Tavishima sent you. And so that's just it for today. So in summary, yes, I am talking to wedding industry professionals, but anyone can listen to this podcast and you're going to learn a lot from it. So keep liking, keep sharing, keep listening, and keep spreading the gospel. Thank you very much for listening to the Sales for the Nigerian Wedding Industry podcast. I'm your host, Abuja-based event and wedding photographer Tabishima Ayede. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next recording.